Okay, you guys, so as I told you in the last video, my car was broke. I was afraid it was a CV joint that I'd had problems with before with the CV boot jacket. And luckily, fingers crossed, it was something as easy as... I'm not playing. I'm not playing. You're silly. Anyway, found out it was just my brakes. Thankfully, it was just this. I had never had a car that has those automatic squealer things. So when I heard that sound coming out of my car, I was terrified. It sounded like metal on metal, which I guess basically it is. Like I said, getting ready for this big trip to Wyoming, and this greeted me and just terrified me. And I forget that, even though I am kind of, I'm a gay guy, I forget that I am somewhat a granola gay. And after I thought about it and sat down and turned on my computer and did some research, I thought, I might be able to do this on my own. So I just want to share with you guys, I'm incredibly proud of myself because this afternoon I have successfully now removed 3 out of 4 brake pads, or sets of brake pads from my car. And I'm getting ready to install the 3rd one, and I'll quickly move on to the 4th one. And just that to me amazes me. I did it without help. And I just, occasionally it's nice to be reminded that, oh wait, you are a mechanically minded person. You can do things like this. You don't have to be scared of them. When I tested for the Coast Guard, I did quite well in my mechanics, but I just forget that I don't need to be intimidated by things. CV joint would have probably intimidated me. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I just want to show you guys what greeted me, and stating that I'm a mechanically minded person makes it even more unforgivable, this mess I found. I knew my brakes were going to be done before I took this trip, and I was planning on it, but I am terrified to see the state of my old pads compared to my new pads. This is quite terrifyingly thin of a shoe pad left compared to what is supposed to be there. And then this is my handiwork. There's my caliper suspended from my shocks, or not my shocks so much as just the spring. And that fits over there, and that's where my shoe pads actually install, and they'll be in just a few minutes. Like I said, I luckily found a great site on the internet that helped me with this. Took a lot of searching, but I was able to find a site that does a step-by-step and actually made this task a lot easier to cope with. I've already done the side that was giving me the horrible sound and was able to pull down my incredibly steep driveway without a problem. Okay, so first you guys, you need to remove your tire. I greatly suggest breaking the lug nuts once while you're still on the ground, and then go ahead and jack the car up and remove the tire. And if you're like me and you don't have a jack stand, you don't want to leave your jack or your car on a jack during this kind of stuff. You want to make it so it's more stable. So what I did is I'm going to remove my tire, I'm going to lower my car back down onto these old stair risers that we're actually pulling out. So they're scrap wood and they're braced into the area of the car that is designed to take the weight of the car for the jack. So I'm going to lower the jack back down so it's sitting right above these. So if I happen to slip and fall off the jack, my car will not fall all the way down. It will actually land on those and hold. Like I said, it will be probably about a ½ inch to a ¼ of an inch just off of those. So it won't fall far, and I'll just realign my jack and relift it when I need to. So on to the next step. So once you've got your car back lowered down, like I said, only about a ¼ inch off of those risers, you go ahead and remove the caliper. And this is the caliper, and this actually is the housing for the actual shoes, or the shoe pad of the brakes. And to remove the housing, the caliper, which is the part that squeezes, you're going to, on these 2 nuts and the bolt in the back, you're going to remove those bolts, set them aside, and then this whole piece comes up, and you'll see that in just a couple minutes. So I've removed these bolts that go right back here, and what now you can do is now you can just remove this whole caliper housing. See, this caliper actually comes off. You want to be careful of the hose in the back. You don't want to damage your brake hose. That's the hose that carries your braking fluid. And you want to make sure that stays intact. So what I do is, with a bungee cord, as you saw before, I just go ahead and hoop it up and around up there and go ahead and support it in there so that it's hanging freely. I can use it anytime, easily unhook it, but I'm keeping that hose safe by not leaving the weight of the caliper actually on that hose. That's how you can actually really badly damage it. So on to the next step. Okay, so now you have your caliper housing secure up here. You can see the bungee cords right there. Sorry, it's awful dark here, guys. You now can see your actual shoes. These just come out. They slide out fairly easily. If not, you might take a screwdriver and just kind of help nudge them along. Don't crank on them, but just you can nudge them on out, and they follow through these tracks here. I would suggest, first time doing it, with a digital camera, take pictures, so in case there's any metal clips that your car uses, you make sure that you get those metal clips back where they belong for when you go to put them back together. Alright, so, and don't forget you have one on this side and one on the back, and you need to replace both of them. The one on the back is a little hard to get to. It does have a little metal clip that you can use to pull out. Make sure you reinstall that metal clip on the new pad that's going in. Okay guys, so my shoe pads are now removed. They're right down here on the floor, looking horrible, horribly neglected. So what I have here is, here's my rotor, and what I'm going to do is, I know that these rotors, well, next time I need to do my brakes, these rotors will need to be replaced. Right now I don't have the money for that, otherwise I would do it now. But it's not an emergency. They're looking okay still, but like I said, next time around they'll need replaced. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brake parts cleaner. What this is an de-oiler. It's kind of a de-grimer. You can go ahead and use it on your stuff, and it'll remove a lot of this grime. And what I do is I just spray my rotor. I'm careful of the rubber parts because it's actually kind of a solvent on rubber parts. It degreases things. And you obviously don't want grease on your brakes, or it kind of stops them from working properly. So what this does is it degreases your brakes and helps get some of this gunk off of here. And some of that gunk can cause a lot of that noise you might hear on the road. Alright, so there you go, nice and shiny, pretty. And now what we're going to do is, there is a piston. And this piston lies within, let's pull this out, let's see if we can use it to help us out here. There's a piston that lies right in there. See that round thing? That is the piston that actually helps adjust the caliper to your shoe pads as your shoe pads start to age and start to lose density. And we need to actually push that piston back down, because when my brake pads are this worn down, or when they're worn down at all, that piston comes out. And with fresh brake pads on there, we won't be able to get this caliper back over our brake pads. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this with a C-clamp, and that's what this little doozy is for. The C-clamp, and what it does is it goes over the back of my caliper, and then as I wind it, this caliper helps push that piston back in so we can fit it over while my brake, not my drums, my rotors go ahead and dry from that cleaner, because I don't want to put those pads back on while it's damp. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, but that piston, that hole there is actually part of the piston. That piston's pushed back into place. Now if you did like I did and you popped your power brake cap, you're going to hear some bubbling and whatnot go on when you do that. That's perfectly normal, because as that piston goes in, it increases the pressure in the brake line, which causes the cap to bubble and move around a bit. So now that these are dry, my rotor's dry, I'm going to go ahead and place my pads back into this spot, just like the original ones came out. And then we'll go ahead and push the caliper back on, and we'll show you that in just a moment.